So you've been hearing me talk a little bit about what it is that Palantir is doing under the hood. And we actually divide that into 4 major areas of functionality, which I'd like to go through with you in a little bit of detail. But they kind of build on each other. So we're going to start at the bottom here and work our way up. Those 4 areas in order are data integration, search and discovery, knowledge management, and collaboration.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today we're, continuing our little deep dive on Palantir. So far, we've looked at the ethos, the roots, and then a bit of the concept of what Palantir is trying to do. Now we're going to jump into a little even mini series of what are they actually doing and how are they doing it and how is it different from what's available right now. So today we're going to start with data integration, and like he said, the other parts will come: search and discovery, knowledge management, collaboration in time. So definitely watch out for those videos, but let's just jump right into it.
So let's get into each one of these in a little bit more detail. Data integration is absolutely the foundation of everything else that Palantir does. And by data integration, we simply mean that Palantir takes all the forms of data that exist across your enterprise, everything from the documents and spreadsheets that live on your analysts' desktops, all the way up to your large enterprise-grade databases, and makes all of those accessible from within a single, unified environment. Now, that one simple idea actually contains within it the kernel of a vast portion of the value that Palantir provides, because we've designed a technique and a framework and software for doing this that is fast, by which I mean that we can come in and have it up and running in days or weeks. It's not a months-long development project. A way that is flexible, meaning that it can deal with all sorts of different data, like I said, from your traditional databases all the way up to far-out stuff, GPS devices, map imagery, video. And a way that is massively scalable. So we're talking about the ability to go up to billions of records, a petabyte of data at some of our larger deployments.
So what does this data integration stuff really relate to? This is the aspect of Palantir, I would say, is very much like the concepts of data warehouse, data lakes. I don't know how many iterations of this they will come out with, but soon they'll have a data ocean. I don't know. But basically, anytime you hear terms like these, it has got to do with data integration from some source systems and making them available in a centralized manner to do downstream work. This aspect of Palantir and Foundry is where you can actually draw comparisons with the likes of Snowflake, AWS, Google Cloud Platform, things like that. But I think what happens is it's wrongly limited to the functions that these companies provide. So the beauty of Palantir is that not only do they provide this end result of centralizing this data, but they've also developed the tools for the pre-processing layers to even bring data into the platform. So this is the ways in which to clean data, schedule refreshes, perform health checks, and just generally bring it in to centralize in a way that works for the business. So that aspect is really the parts which replace smaller tools or smaller offerings like Informatica and other ETL tools that you generally need to use when migrating to, for example, Palantir or Snowflake. So when Snowflake requires you to get another product in Informatica, Palantir has this for themselves. But then not only do they provide the service and product of this predecessor processing side, they also provide the services and products for the further refinement downstream. So what I mean by this is the advanced and also point and click machine learning, visualization, what-if analysis, and many more. An example of this is where Snowflake, where they would have connectors with Power BI or Tableau, Palantir instead has inbuilt visualizations, which in some cases I would say far exceed the capabilities of these downstream partners. There's also some parts where the downstream partners are a bit better, just like I think the aesthetics, I would say, look a bit better in Tableau, but so from what I can tell, the actual functionality of Palantir stuff is more powerful, but the aesthetics are better in Tableau, Power BI. But Palantir also allows you to connect to these third parties as well, if you so wish, and it still manages those connections. And I'll touch on this managing of connections a bit later, but I'll just get through this explanation a bit first. So, and it's not only the visualization software that they have built in, but it's also other things like reporting, which might be a PowerPoint and spreadsheet functionality. So like spreadsheet being Excel, reporting being PowerPoint, and a lot more features. I'm not listing all of them, but you can look at their documentation and you can try to find the commonalities between existing products. But then you might say that AWS, GCP, they all have these layers. And then I would say the argument is that Palantir offers these layers in a human-centric, non-technical, yet with the option to be highly advanced. And it's also highly automated and highly connected. Again, I'll touch on this highly connected matter in just a bit. So altogether, you can see how they go beyond a data platform, which what AWS, Snowflake, and GCP are. And I think this is a part of why Alex Karp says they're 5 to 10 years ahead. They are the actual operating system and are already far ahead of just that data platform aspect, which the competitors are just getting onto and just now kind of trying to evolve away from. Palantir is already there. They're offering these services to many companies and building full-on other new industries and companies using this. So when I was talking about the connected manner thing, so Palantir, not only does it do the data integration and stop there, like a one-time data dump into Snowflake or AWS. When Palantir say data integration, they really mean integrated. So what do I mean by this? So not only do they offer this integrated operating system with the tools for all the steps and levels of the data lifecycle, they also integrate and link the actual use and operation of these tools. And this happens nearly automatically and as a part of their product. So for example, let's say you have the data platform aspect built out now, and your data is centralized and ready for use downstream. And let's say your downstream teams are working on a project that requires a bit of modeling. Let's say it's an inventory management prediction model, and that then leads into other aspects of the workflow. So you have this little bit of modeling, then you have the higher level business analysts who use this output, use the output of these models and incorporate them into spreadsheets to do their higher level number crunching, and maybe then incorporating other aspects of inventory like financial planning, which may be supported by yet another model. So for example, let's say the inventory model shows that you will run out of materials by the next week. And the finance model shows you that you can order today, but you only get half the inventory as usual. You can only get half the inventory as usual because of the current financial situation of the company. But you could also, maybe the financial model also shows you that you can order the full amount in 3 days, but have higher risk that the inventory doesn't come in on time. Then you have to consider the potential downstream effects and do cost-benefit analysis of whether it's profitable to order the full bulk amount in 3 days and risk maybe 1 day of no production, or you have to balance that with having to place 2 orders and pay a price for ordering twice to maintain your production operations. So that kind of stuff is done in Excel, and then these high-level numbers are taken and put into a presentation to be presented to like executives, and then from this presentation, you have to take some action based on the data presented, and then you kind of need to somehow feed it back to your ERP CRM system so that you can affect change with your operational employees on the factory floors and what have you, who can then do their planning based on this. So like maybe staffing, because they know that we're trying to, maybe they have to do some staffing optimization because of the way the inventory is coming in. So now imagine you don't have something like Foundry. What happens is your modeling layer usually happens in some code workbook that's hidden away only to data scientists. Then the outputs of these models are shared in some rudimentary, arbitrary way to the business analyst. So sometimes it's as basic as just copying and pasting from the code workbook to a messaging app to that analyst spreadsheet. So in that, I hope you can see the problem already. There's a movement of data without having a unique and immutable record of this data flow. And that's where Palantir, and today, especially with Foundry, they come in. So what happens is whenever someone wants to use the output of a model, say even copy paste, I think Palantir has some more specific ways to access this and some frameworks that make sure it's managed and tracked well for downstream flow. But let's just say this is, for simplicity, you're just copying and pasting the output from the model to your Excel. This copy paste is tracked, and it's tracked along with the information about the state of the world at the time. The state of the world being, for example, so for example, what happens is that sometimes data scientists might update a model, but the Excel that goes downstream, which is disconnected and static, that doesn't update. So your downstream workflows are cut off from updates. So the copy paste tagging and tracking is basically embedding the fact that this specific output came from a previous version of the model. And it might highlight that there's a new version of a model available when you're looking at this Excel sheet and it will tell you like there's a new version that you should probably copy and paste from, or just highlight that this is not up to date. And that's just considering that it won't just update and inherit the new outputs of the new model. It will depend on the kind of safety features that you would implement. So it depends on the use case, but that's kind of what Palantir offers. So I've obviously not filled out this whole analogy and explanation. I really wanted to leave that up actually for you guys to comment and like try and really see and explain for yourselves like where these pieces come in and how important and valuable this is. And yeah, also then think of the fact that this inventory model might not only be specific to one factory, and then you wanted to do it for the next factory. So say you did this on a factory in LA, and now you want to do it for New York. Because this whole system is linked and it's in a closed loop, you can easily automate this whole lineage from data modeling to presenting it to someone to be able to then take action. You can basically copy and paste this whole lineage and just change the fact that your source data is now inventory from a New York factory rather than an LA factory. So, I mean, and the opposite use case of where you don't have Foundry, imagine you have to do that. Like you have to do that data modeling, you have to copy paste again from the model to your Excel, then you have to do all the downstream workflows without it being tracked and without you knowing like, oh, did I copy it this way? Did I do this thing? So it completely eradicates that human error at that point. And that's really the power that Palantir provides in this case, and how their data integration, I think, really goes a whole step above what's available. I think I'm going to stop it there for today. Thanks for watching. I hope getting you guys to think of the downstream effects and comment is interesting and kind of helps keep this channel a bit interactive and like make the learning a little interactive. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your explanations, maybe agreements and disagreements with what I'm saying. And hopefully it can like spur some discussion in the comments between whoever is watching. And yeah, the next video will be talking about the other aspects. I think I've kind of jumped a little between the pillars, but I think it's important to have this full-on explanation, and then the other parts kind of build off, like he said in the video. So we'll definitely be exploring that. Yeah, so thank you for watching and have a good one.